So yesterday during Sunday Night Football, we got a teaser for the upcoming Aquaman sequel, and I'm going to kind of give my thoughts on it. Now, it's only a teaser, so there's not really a whole lot to go on. This is not going to be a breakdown on the teaser trailer. Like, it's like 20 seconds. I'm not going to go through and frame by frame take, my like break it down and like, what does this mean? That's not what this channel is. This is not what this video is. This is just a guy who likes movies, who likes comic book movies, giving his honest thoughts on stuff that he saw. Aquaman 2, for better for worse, is one of the most anticipated movies coming out left from DC. It's the final movie within the DCEU canon before the big reboot with the DCEU and James Gunn doing Superman Legacy. So there's a lot riding on this movie, and let's be honest, let's call a spade here. These movies haven't been doing well. Matter of fact, none of the movies other than outside the DCEU, I'm not talking about the Batman, I'm not talking about the Joker, but within the DCEU, none of these movies have been all that profitable since the last Aquaman movie. So can Aquaman 2 bring back DCEU and bring back the box office, I guess, because all these movies have undershot since the first Aquaman movie. Everyone after that has been undershot. You can blame COVID, you can blame stuff going to HBO Max day and day, you can blame all types of things, but at the end of the day, the facts are none of them have been successful. You had The Rock. The Rock promoted his movie more than, regardless of how I personally feel about The Rock as a person, he went out and he promoted Black Adam more than any other actor I have ever seen promote anything in his life. I would say probably Ryan Reynolds is the only one that you can kind of compare, because Ryan Reynolds went out and he promoted the hell out of Deadpool. So other than Ryan Reynolds, no other actor promoted his brand, promoted his movie as much as Black Adam, and the movie didn't even make $400 million. The movie was a colossal flop, just like Blue Beetle, just like The Flash, just like a plethora of other movies that were all released after Aquaman. Aquaman came out, made $1 billion. Everybody's like, all right, DC's back on track. And then the very next film, flop after flop after flop after flop. That's not me hating. That's just me pointing out the facts. That is it. Facts. I'm just pointing out what actually happened. And we're not getting into Marvel versus DC. I don't get into the whole fanboy crap. You can like whatever, company or studio you've seen fit. We all know Marvel isn't doing any better nowadays. Marvel, although their movies aren't as flopping as hard, they are definitely not making the money that they used to make. And we're going to see that when the Marvels come out, because again, we have Captain Marvel and Aquaman. Both films made $1 billion for each of their studios, right? I do not see Aquaman making $1 billion, and I do not see the Marvels making $1 billion. The sequels to those films will not be making $1 billion. I will tell you this, though. However, I will say this. Aquaman 2, The Lost Kingdom, has a better chance to making $1 billion than the Marvels. I will say that. Aquaman 2 has a better chance of making $1 billion. First of all, let's talk about the $1 billion. I don't think $1 billion means a film has been successful. As long as a movie turns out a profit for the studio, that is what deems a movie successful. It has to be profitable. $1 billion is like, it was a rare unicorn that barely ever happened. And then we started seeing this rare unicorn start appearing more and more often. And you know what happens when you see something that's rare and you see it more and more often? It becomes a habit. You think it's a common thing. When you see something, it's like, when your parents give you like $20 for doing good in school, and then the next week they give you $20 and they just keep giving you $20, you're expecting that $20 every single week, even though it started out being something that they were just doing very rarely to just kind of, show you, hey, you're doing a good job. It's a unicorn. $1 billion was 100% a unicorn. It was a rare thing that we never saw, and then we started seeing it and it became commonplace. And then people started expecting it to be commonplace. And when these movies like Doctor Strange and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and all these movies don't hit $1 billion, you see these hate channels out there. You see your geeks and gamers and all your other people out there, and they're going, oh, look, another colossal flop for Marvel. Well, what quantifies as a colossal flop? Because Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was not a colossal flop. The movie was successful in every merit that you judge a movie. Same thing with Guardians 3. Same thing, well, Ant-Man Quantumania, there's no excuse for that. But these movies were successful. They weren't massive mega hits like the $1 billion mega hits that we've seen in Phase 2 and Phase 3, but they were successful nonetheless. Aquaman was the last successful movie for the DCEU. That's not counting the outside, other stuff like Joker and the Batman. Those are outside the DCEU. I'm talking about in-brand, in-house DCEU, the Snyderverse. Aquaman was the last hit. That has a lot to do with studio constantly, going back to the drawing board, fiddling with stuff, middling too much. There's a lot of factors into that. Right? I have always said that DC has the best characters, right? When it comes to comic books, I will take Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman over any characters in the Marvel universe any single day of the week. They are definitely more popular than Captain America and Iron Man, right? The only other characters that you can possibly put on that pedestal of the Trinity is Spider-Man, maybe some of the X-Men characters, and the Incredible Hulk. Other than that, DC has always had the best established characters, but the problem is they've been mishandled for so long that people and the fans kind of they tuned out. Right? Why did we get a Black Adam movie? Can someone watching this video please in the comment box right now, please tell me, why did we get a Black Adam movie? Seriously, I want to know, why did we get a Black Adam movie? Other than the fact that it had a star by the name of The Rock, who has millions upon millions of followers. Other than that, there is no reason why we should ever have had a Black Adam movie. We're talking about a secondary villain to a third-rate character, right? Shazam is not a household name character. The first Shazam movie didn't do well. It did okay enough for a sequel. We saw what happened to the sequel. Absolutely just crash and burn. And I actually think the sequel was better than the original movie. But you have a villain to a third-rate character like Shazam, and you're giving this villain his own movie. If this wasn't The Rock that wanted to do it, that movie would never been greenlight, and that just shows you the ineptitude of the studio for greenlighting such a stupid project. Hey, we got this character. He's a knockoff Superman, and we're going to give him his own movie, and we're going to take his main arch enemy, who should be in at least his sequel or have a cameo in his first movie, and he's going to have his own movie. And never once are these two going to reference each other or meet at any point. In fact, The Rock said Shazam is not even the type of movie that he would want to cross over with Black Adam. Two different tones of movies. When you have the inmates running the asylum, you run into the colossal failure of what is the DCEU. And that is why James Gunn has the, I feel, most impossible task to try to steer the ship and redeem this train wreck of what is the DC cinematic universe. So he has a huge task at hand, and whether or not he's able to succeed with that is still going to be yet to be seen. Marvel has its own share of problems. Marvel is kicking themselves more than they are doing anything. Like they are hurting themselves. They are spreading themselves way too thin. This is not a video of me talking about what's wrong with both companies. I can do that in a separate video some other time. I was wanting to talk about Aquaman 2, and I know I kind of rambled off and went off target, but I feel like some of this stuff needs to be said. Yes, Aquaman 2, the teaser looked good, okay? But when I look at this teaser, all I see is yet again another superhero comic book movie with CGI galore and just special effects and action, and that's all. I actually really enjoyed the first Aquaman movie. I really do. I think it is right up there. Wonder Woman, Man of Steel, and Aquaman are the best DCEU movies, with BVS, the Ultimate Cut, coming right underneath. Aquaman is probably my number 2 favorite of the DCEU movies. I think it's a fantastic movie. Jason Momoa really brings this character to life, but let's be honest, a lot has changed since that first Aquaman movie. We have been oversaturated with these comic book properties, whether we're talking about HBO Max, whether we're talking about Disney Plus, like 5-6 movies a year 5, 6 different shows a year, whether we're talking about network TV, streaming services, it doesn't matter. We are oversaturated. And when you oversaturate the market, it ends up getting people fatigue of your property. And that is one of the factors, not the only deciding factor, but one of the factors of why we see such a loss in returns with these movies that used to average $800, $900 million, $1 billion at the box office. This is one of the reasons. And when I seen the Aquaman trailer, I was like, hey, I'm really cool to see Ocean Master. I want to see Black Manta. Black Manta, I love that character. I wanted to see him more in the first movie. I am going to see this movie because I enjoy the first movie and because I like the Black Manta character, and Jason Momoa dominates as this character of Aquaman. However, when you see the trailer, you kind of roll your eyes. In my opinion, I roll my eyes and go, it's all CGI again. It's all absolutely CGI again. And it's just like, how many times are we going to go see these giant CGI blockbusters? Give me something with a little more heart. And I think these studios need to start dialing back on the budgets. Get rid of some of this CGI. Give us a nice, 70, 80, $90 million budget superhero film. Give us some character defining moments. Give us some character development, some great dialogue, some great acting. And let's use those special effects for the bigger budget movies. Save it for the right time. And that is one of the biggest problems. When you start being successful, you start overspending, and now you see these studios starting to lose money. That goes for both Marvel and DC, because when you put too much money out there and you're not recouping it, you run into problems like Black Adam. That was the biggest problem. The Black Adam movie had a way too bloated budget for what that movie is supposed to be, for a third-rate character, for a third-rate villain to a third-rate character. So when it comes to Aquaman 2, am I excited to see the trailer later this week? Absolutely. But at the same time, I roll my eyes because here we go again, more CGI orgy fest all over the screen. So guys, I know this was a long video. No, I went on a tangent. Haven't really done videos in a while. I've been dealing with a lot of health problems, but I'm hopefully now got my health back on track, and hopefully I will have more energy and I can do more stuff like this, because I like to talk about the things that I love, and I love to hear from you guys because I love you guys. Thank you guys for everything. Thank you guys for all your support, and thank you guys to continue to support me as I try to fix this health problem. Thank you guys. I want to know what you guys think. Please, how you guys feel about the Aquaman trailer and the state of comic book movies? Leave those comments. Leave those comments in the comment box below. Smash that like button, and I will catch you guys next time. Thank you so much.